Good afternoon. Thank you so much for staying with 95.1 Nigeria Info, your passionate, trustworthy, and conversational radio. Abuja, welcome to Hard Facts with yours truly, Kimberly Wachku. Call me Kim, the Oracle, the Digital Oracle, OTF, the Fellow, Ochanyawan, Madam Speaker, and I will say yes to them all. I'm super stoked, excited to be here with you today for another 4 hours of amazing conversation with you. I've been looking forward to it since I signed off yesterday, believe it or not. Oh well, keeping with tradition, we're going to start off with the roundtable, looking at some of the big stories driving conversation in Nigeria. And did you know that Lagos State now has 70,000 naira as their minimum wage? As a matter of fact, it's been in effect for a bit, according to the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. It disclosed that workers have been enjoying an additional 35,000 naira wage allowance since January. This is as he revealed the state government will soon roll out a new minimum wage scheme, which we hope is not going to go below the 70,000, because if you were putting extra 35,000, which the federal government promised and a few other states, apparently bought and went in line with that, it would be a huge shame, to cut it down to anything less than 70,000. So let's just pretend that the standard minimum has been set already. But we'll get to see eventually what it is. The governor said that those who are currently earning minimum wage of 35,000 naira or more now take home a salary of 70,000 naira or above since the beginning of January. That's for civil servants, public officers in Lagos. They know that since January, we'll continue to pay this extra amount of 35,000 naira over and above what they were earning before. And what this means is that people are now earning, minimum of 35 or more before they now earn 70,000. And so it's important for people to know that we make these very things clear, that the government has doubled up to ensure that at this difficult time, it has not left the citizens on its own. He said at a state function. The governor, while giving an update on the intervention of the state embarked on to ameliorate the current economic hardship, said his administration will distribute food items to 500,000 households in the state through unions and through local government. Now, speaking on the Onje-Eko initiative, where food items are sold at discounted prices, the governor said they created 59 makeshift market outside of the regular market, out of the 57 local government and local council development area, and made it a Sunday market. So people in Lagos know the Sunday markets that have been created, and they know they can buy it at a reasonably priced rate when they go there. And also the minimum earners have gotten a bump up with the 35,000. He didn't quite say how long that will go for. He just said since January, perhaps maybe 6 months until they ease themselves into the new minimum wage. But what do you think? If people are now comfortable earning and spending and living around 70,000, do you think anything less than that is going to appeal to them? It would have to be that or more eventually. And yes, I hear people who say if Lagos State can conveniently pay 70,000 as minimum wage from January, though it's not like the new minimum wage just yet, it's the part of the palliative measures that were doled out by the federal government and some states who bought into it. If they're used to it and they can pay, it means that they somehow can sustain it for infinity, or till they will have to review upwards again. So it means Lagos State can do it. Not a lot of states can boast of this. As a matter of fact, 35,000 is a struggle, or 30K is a struggle for a lot of states. And so, but Lagos State is one of those prosperous states we have in the country. It's not surprising that they can actually pull this one off. And so it would just be, once they're having their conversation about what the new minimum wage will be in Lagos State, it only makes sense that it can't be anything less than 70,000 naira. The bar has been set, and we'll get to see how it goes. Talking about how it goes, where are we with getting the inmates that escaped from the Suleja prison? Someone says it's easier to break out of prison than out of the poverty cycle. Like, ouch, wow. That's intense. But we're seeing a lot of jailbreaks. Yeah, it doesn't happen every day, not every market day either. But when it happens, it sure does happen in such a fashion that will get the entire nation talking. We're still reeling from the Kuje jailbreak. No update. Nobody lost their jobs. No explanation as to how it really happened. And no guarantees or assurances that it might not happen again. Quite a number of them are still on the run, perhaps settling down into, everyday life, maybe crime, maybe a regular 9-to-5 job, or maybe out of the country to neighboring countries. One can never really tell. Perhaps they just, all over the place around us at the moment as we speak. And then Suleja happened. This one is a medium security prison. Kuje is also, it's a medium security. It's not like Kirikiri, which is maximum. And that's why people are wondering why certain caliber of people will be sent there in the first instance. Well, back to the story. 118 inmates escaped as rainstorm destroyed Niger prison. It wasn't like we're trying any Michael Scofield move, like a prison break, but the prison broke and they escaped. Simple as that. A downpour on Wednesday night wreaked havoc on the medium security custodial center in Suleja, Niger State, resulting in extensive damage to the facility and facilitating the escape of 118 inmates. It was disclosed in a statement signed by the spokesperson, FCT Command of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Adamu Duza, on Thursday. He noted that the downpour caused severe damage to the custodian center, the infrastructure, including a breach in the perimeter fence, which allowed the inmate to flee. And, the buildings actually do look decrepit. They're just waiting to fall apart in the first instance. In response, the NCOS swiftly activated its recapturing protocol, collaborating with other security agencies to recover 10 of the escaped inmates. Effort to recapture the remaining fleeing inmates are said to be ongoing at the moment. Now, recognizing the vulnerability of aging facilities, many of which were built during the colonial era, Duza acknowledged that the NCOS was committed to modernizing its infrastructure. The statement further noted that the controller of prisons, FCT Command Francis John, assured the public that the situation was under control and urged them to carry on with their daily activities without fear. There's a tendency of fear, sir. Excuse us. I mean, people broke out of prison. Doesn't matter if medium or whatever custodian it is. It is perceived that they are criminals, even though some of them might just be awaiting trial. But the perception will be people who were removed from society for being deviant have escaped and have reintegrated themselves back into society. It looks like people definitely will be a little wary and be like, let's be sure I don't jump into a cab with one of them, or I don't walk at night and one of them jumps me and stuff like that. So if you're saying we should go about our business without fear, even though we have 118 people who should be in prison out, it's okay. We'll take your words for it. However, the building situation is one to look at. And I recall when we were talking yesterday with Dr. Majid, who put forward his very brilliant argument in support of just improving on the federal policing system that we have at the moment. He did talk about things like infrastructure and, remuneration and the entire structure of how policing should be done in the country. And you look at our prisons where, the saturation there is one that they've talked about over time. Now, I know it just feels awful people to be advocating build more prisons, because it feels as if we're going to have more deviants and more people that should be sent to jail. However, there's a need to, fortify the walls properly. And, from Kogi to Abuja to the different parts of Nigeria where we've had people break out of prison or escape from prison, or the wall just caved in and they just strolled out of prison. There's a need for us to do more to ensure that these walls are as solid as it can get. Yeah, you see around the world, you get stories here and there of people breaking out of prison, but we don't get it in large number that we kind of like record in Nigeria sometimes. It's not often that you hear that. You hear one person broke out of prison, 2 people did. But when you start to hear large number, it tells you that we need to pay attention to it. I recall some time back they were giving a breakdown of what prisoners are fed. There was an outcry at that point, oh, we could do better. I recall that they were even comparing it what the dogs in Aso Rock feed on per day compared to what prisoners feed on and all of that. But, that's not the conversation. People still have their right, even though they're incarcerated, as long as you're not spelling out a death sentence on them. Okay, let's go on a quick break.
The organ of the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ACAN, wishes to invite you to its stakeholders forum on the theme Promoting Responsible Advertising in Nigeria.
Tell me more.
Date, Thursday, April 25, 2024. Venue, Shiba Event Center, 20 Mobolaji Bank, Anthony Way, Ikeja, Lagos. Time, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Oh, count me in.
Come, let us discuss, interact and share ideas and be enlightened on the laws, ethics of the profession, the Nigerian Code of Advertising, as well as vetting guidelines as they relate to the advertising regulations in Nigeria. Also, the consequences of non-compliance and violation of the law. Admission is free. Advertise it if you want to sell it. Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ensuring ethical advertising.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Audio Jungle.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
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 This is Nigeria Info.
Looped out just before the break, we're talking about the prison that fell, the walls, the perimeter fencing that allow for the escape of 118 of the inmates there. So far, 10 of them have been, recaptured. What's the guarantee anyway that the rest of them will be found or would voluntarily return back to prisons? And at times like this calls for proper, interrogation of our prison system. It's a correctional service center, and you start to really look at the building, the structure, all of that, saying if indeed it is correctional in nature for those who need to be corrected and reintegrated back into society. How is it that the building got to a point where it was easy for it to fall apart? How intense was the rain? I know a lot of people ask, but these things do happen. Flooding situation can happen. Intense rain can happen. I mean, I saw the case of Dubai where we're having conversation if it was their cloud seeding or nature itself, and found out it was nature all the way from Omar, and the cities were flooded, some roads were torn apart and all of that. Not like I heard any prison fell or buildings swept away, but there was a lot of talk globally about their drainage system. So times like this, there will be definitely a lot of talk about our buildings, our infrastructure, certain facilities, if they can withstand certain things at this point in time, and clamor for more funding as much as possible. So it's just the perfect time to talk about the Nigerian Prison Service. I see my phone lines buzzing. Seeing I don't have a guest, let's get the conversation moving. Let's move things along quickly. 0700 951 0000 or 0809 5974869. Or you can call 0809 9930 Just so you know, we're on Facebook and YouTube. Am I correct? Yes, we are. Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello,
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Kimberly.
How are you doing?
Hi, my name is Godfrey.
We're listening, Godfrey.
You see that prison, they are calling it prison break. It's not prison break. Nobody broke the prison. It's the correctional center that, out of pure, undiluted carelessness, they broke that prison cell. My dear, look at the excuse the man is giving, that the prison was built during colonial era, and you are in charge. You cannot be going around to check. Let me tell you, they set up inquiry now. Check the records. I can swear to you that you will discover that they have just finished renovation. They will collect money and they will not do the work.
Well, we don't know that. There's no report of any renovation around that prison.
I know. Let's just assume, because this is Nigeria. How many fences fell around that place? A prison wall is supposed to be the most fortified, the strongest. Can they send people to go and check how many houses or fences that fell around that prison area? It's just pure corruption. Very, 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 how would I say, so carelessness in fact. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, Bonzo. Didi. Go ahead. Fellow one, the principal said it was to prison break. Weather, the wall fell and they said. All right, let's hear the caller quickly over sector. Hello. Good afternoon. You're welcome. Come with the one.
Okay, I think before the lost part of them, they understand that I was privileged to read and have very much have the close to the Emily Final House. The building, big building. Do you know in there still they have to back the building because they are up and even building itself is in the modern day. I really said to the guys because the building of over 60 years ago don't do I think we need to bargain our day. For them, you not to put it in the business and give them their sanity, their health. You should come on to the being there for operation, something that enjoy them. If you go there, even some animals, I've never been in this kind of the zero test. Have one teammate, but it's 170. Do you think those guys will not go back? Some of them, let me just manage my words, not get myself. Thank you very much, Kim.
All right, thank you very much. Let's listen to Mr. Ventura speak about this.
Because of the storm was reaching the outside of this facility of the and of course the good feeling gets attack out of it. So we want to clash and then we do it more for everyone. every week around the world. And two, also is must also the cost of that be that not happening and how we live. We can see walls are actually old and unfortunately so there's certain beliefs with don't think it's obviously but ensure that it's not going to president has also always talking about an efficiency hospitals. This is what you can do. Those to relate of collateral and will be there away from systems let's be security as well as set where community where electors can do it operate the level of the proper activities but we are talking about these things make sure say all weight ensure that basically we don't know these is and will take in place to make sure that these I said 100% and 10 have been okay one way like this is so fast fast transfer and see us for the because for the go what we talking about in our correctional centers. So this is as much as we'll, by the grace of God, I'm sure, I'm very optimistic we'll solve this problem, but it also gives us probing questions, and for in every crisis there's always an opportunity for greatness. So it's for us to, as a people, as a country, critically able to find out but I said the law says and short as avoid the relationship in that time and it's not to he said by Prime Minister to make us that were put back on the and another shy prophecy okay and was all consent and made that never fly.
They would responsibility some lapses that was could you to realize for some of these things are vented avoid reading and have time to find the rest of 109 nor could happen we have on all I mean I'm not at all so this was see if it would be different in pre-current full with the solutions call you and I'll be in the door okay what more I did go ahead yeah it and you did the drop of it should be from a long than just indeed most how can we present up and is before this get we're talking about
very unfortunately, when you see the team, if you look at the first reason, I think embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. Look at the beauty. If you look at the beauty run, it's an embarrassment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, I've looked at schools and I feel it's more of an embarrassment. I've seen primary healthcare centers in such a deplorable state that I feel really broken by them. I'm not really want to look at the prisons and too much because I know that it's just some of what we see quite around. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done in all of these places, I must admit. All right, let's look at some of your comments quickly. Let's start with Facebook. Eguchepo. The wall or perimeter fence fell during heavy downpour. Suleja prison is an old one. Is it there for evangelism solution? Hence, wall of the building housing inmates should be separated from the fence. It's strong renovation with strong things should be done. Most of the old prisons, similar situation. I bet if you decide to all of the prisons in the country, be safe they're in. Masha Emeka says, good afternoon. Inside afternoon. We're watching you live from Maraban. Happy to hear your voice. Thank you, Lai. Masa, Lagos City is doing well. For the reason, you sure know this song, Paul and Silas, they say. All right, I hear you. Henry Owunonu says, good afternoon. I welcome all this out daily edutainment session. I visited the correctional facility in Suleja before. I can just be said to be dilapidated, abandoned, and a relic of the past. Overcrowding is an understatement of the state of human beings that are said to be rehabilitated in that facility. The inmates are just victims of the failure of duty of care and responsibility by the Nigerian state. Why would mere rainfall lead to a prison break, if not perhaps part of the mud perimeter fence gave way? It's another sad tale. Yeah, don't we have them always? Every day, different sad tale altogether. So that's why I said it's an opportunity to begin to interrogate the prisons. If you say these ones have been built since colonial time, it means that we've never really thought of improving on the walls, the facilities. I mean, for people who have visited these prisons, you know the state of things in there. You go in there, you come out, and you wouldn't wish it for your worst enemy. That's how bad it is. I've visited some of these prisons in different parts of the country. Reports, gospel. And you get to see some of them and you feel really heartbroken and hope that they really come out rehabilitated and no war stuff, because the setting isn't one that looks like it intends to rehabilitate anyone anyway. So, yeah, that's that. And let's see on YouTube. Ayewo says, okay, I see you. I see you also, bonsoir. Engineer, I hail you too. St. Patrick, the collapse of Suleja Correctional Facility is long overdue. Every time I pass that building, I wonder what exactly is the need of keeping people in such an environment. We need to do more as a country. And Ayewo says, cultists are killing themselves at Algie Polytechnic for a week now. Nobody is ready to do anything about it. All right, then. So let's look at the next story. Now, I remember when Bishop Pope died. Pope Jr., I beg your pardon, died. There were a lot of talks about, okay, this one, he didn't have a safety, this one, water system is this one, and a lot of talks. And there's been tons of this report. I recall last year alone, we recorded at least 4 that made headlines of people, large number of people, 60, 80, and the likes of them, who drowned. Niger State, Kwara State, people were coming from a party, and then they drowned, and nobody even knew. People had disappeared until the next morning when they were looking for them. Like, how didn't they, jump that ferry or that boat or that canoe? And we can't find them, and floating bodies started emerging. I recall on 2 occasions, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had made a statement, sent his condolences, regretted what happened, and he said his government was going to interrogate water travel and water transportation in Nigeria. But where are we with all of that? Because, we're still seeing more reports. More reports. This year alone, there's been about 3 of these water accidents. In February, particularly in Kwara State, 60 people, drowned when they were trying to ferry them from Esunge ferry port of Minna, the capital of Niger State. The ferry was said to be overloaded by double its capacity, and somehow, you never can tell what happens, and it happens, and people died. And a lot of people travel by road because by water, some of these communities do not have a choice if you're looking at the riverine area. However, in places, particularly in Niger, Kwara axis, where you see a lot of this water travel happening. I remember some time back, a friend had gone that direction. I think they were doing a documentary or something about how they travel in that community. And the ferry looks very redonkulous, actually. Maybe because I've been on ferries in 1 or 2 other countries and be like, okay, this is how it looks. But that one is just so makeshift. And then the traffic is increasing. You think that we need to begin to pay attention to, like, okay, people are traveling, a lot of people and communities, do not have a choice but to travel this way because it's cheaper for them. Back then it used to be 500 and the likes. I hear the price have gone up. According to Premium Times report, 4,000, they pay under an hour to just move you, to move you. Sometimes they travel hours on the waterway there. It's time for us to pay attention to it. If we're losing, Dana crash landed. People did not die. Read headlines, we swung into action swiftly, grounded the airline like you've crashed before. People died. How is it that you're not able to fix your landing gear? Dr. Joe Abba was sharing the story of an airline where they were already ready to fly, and then one of the engineers came and said, oh, we have issues with the landing gear, don't fly. And the pilot gave them one long story. The next thing they disembarked and avoided another possible crash or crash landing situation. If we're showing that level of commitment to safeguarding our airways, is it because it's the elite, really? Not every average Joe can afford to fly. You and I know that. And then it gives a bad impression also when it comes to image, when your plane continues to go down and crash land and all of that. We see some countries who are in trouble. Airlines and those who even build aircraft have been in hot water for a while over plane crashing, and people say, oh, don't fly this Boeing 737, don't fly this one and all of that. But why are we not paying equal attention when we have hundreds of people traveling at once by ferry, by boat, and we're getting reports every other quarter of a large number of people dying? The minister here and every relevant department should be concerned, even transport, because this is under your forte. People are moving from one community to another, from one state to another, and then you hear 60 people drowned, 80 people drowned, 100 drowned, 5 people drowned, and it's becoming a bit more frequent. It's becoming even more reported in the news because it's getting tragic. Last June, a boat traveling in the same area at night overturned. 100 people died. In February, it was 60 people that died. And I recall one other report about, was it 43 people that died not too long ago, and we keep talking about it. There are a lot of these communities that are cut off so badly that, the thought of coming into town and going by road, because there's even no connecting road from their communities to the main city. This is the only convenient way for them to travel and cheaper way. They move their goods, they move their people, they move Okada and all of that. And it's not often that we even report the news capture the number of people who drown and who die, trying to move from one point to the other. I think it's time for Nigeria to pay attention to the persistent accidents we're getting on our waterways, because a lot of people travel this way. We need to pay attention as much as we're paying attention to what's happening by air travels, by land travel. I mean, road safety will give us detail as to what happened during Ember months, what happened during one quarter, how many accidents happened, how many were averted. We see roads and rules and regulations coming up. Why are we not doing that if so many Nigerians are traveling by waterways? We should. We need to employ all the mechanisms to ensure that there's safety and all the precautionary measures to ensure that if it does happen, because accidents do happen, that at least lives can be saved. You have the trained people who move with them. You have the life jackets. We had time to speak with pharmacist Isaac Onoja some weeks back, shortly after the Pope Jr. situation happened, and was like, okay, this is what to do, this is what to do. But you just get people traveling, women, children, men drown, and until their body starts to float, nobody knows they disappeared. No one even knows how to begin to comb the waters to find them. I think we've had too many of it. Between 2019 and 2023, Nigeria has recorded 71 fatal boat accidents with at least 1,072 fatality, according to report figures that have come in. The regulator, NIWA, did not provide data requested through a Freedom of Information request. Perhaps they do not even have it, the number of people who have died. It's possible. If NIWA has it, they should bring it out and publish it, or the measures being made to safeguard our waterways. Now, investigation done by Premium Times show that in the last 5 years, 2023 was the deadliest year with 421 deaths, and the single deadliest accident occurred in Kwara State in June 2023, where 106 people died. In Taraba State, in October 2023, 100 people died. In Kebbi State, 98 people died. Now, since the accident in Kwara State last June, the nation has recorded 15 more accidents with at least 278 fatalities. The latest occurred 10 states in Nigeria, life of Unipoop and you're looking at it, it's increasing. So it's more people choosing travel by waterway, putting more of it lately, and we do see that people are dying. NIWA has an elaborate kind of like a regimen regulation, some of which they'll say, okay, trip should be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for obvious reason. Boat operators must not exceed the capacity vessel, but they still do. Operators should avoid using old and rickety boats. Find as any boat used for more than 5 years, they will still old and rickety boat, except we enforce with serious enforcement, stringent one, like we do when there's a crash landing and you see fans swing into action, you see the minister swing into action. Nothing is going to change if it's going to be just mere talk. Boat operators must refrain from consuming alcohol or drugs before and during their boat ride. Who's checking to be sure that they're not doing any of that? At least we know with road travel, there are a lot of people checking. Passengers must always wear a life jacket before boarding a boat. All boats and boat operators must be registered with NIWA. Operators should regularly check water condition to ensure safe sailing. And operators are required to carry hand paddle, which can be crucial in the case of engine. These are regulations they put down to say this is how it should be. But if there's no enforcement, nothing is going to happen to ensure that people travel safely by boat, by ferry, and or whatnot, because the number, guys, it's increasing and we should be worried. Hello. You are welcome.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm good. Good to hear from you, sir.
What is working in Nigeria? All sectors suffer neglect, total prison, hospital, psychiatric center. Our graveyard even are being turned to
dumping ground in some society. So a lot of things, nothing is working. When it happens, you hear, I even see or had ministers, senior minister of government, facing press conference. And that is not the norm in most of the country. I watch international news. If in case of any event, you don't see minister, they rarely speak. They are ministers in those states. Even if it involves security issues, you see within a local consulate addressing press conference. So the bureaucracy, especially in Nigeria, who's budgetary allocation, you prolong their lives under was passing. That is what they have to put to them.
They shelter somewhere far from the prison.
To buy shelter maybe adding to criminal.
I go to the prison and kill them. So they decide to
adding criminal into confinement. Maybe don't want to say it. I like it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abubakar. Then we'll join us for the news. Let's look at one or two comments quickly if time will permit. Let's see here. Today, challenge minimum wage. Okay, we'll take a comment after the message to enjoy.
This is Nigeria.